Notice of this meeting was posted on January 13th, 2023. Eric, can we have a call to order?
Yes.
Roll call.
People in attendance today is Mr. DeVere,
Here.
Mr. Talbot,
Here.
Ms. Patterson, and Commissioner Davidson.
Here. Item number 4, approval of minutes of previous meeting. Has everybody had the chance to look them over? Any corrections? That said, I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes.
So moved.
Second. Roll call.
Mr. DeVere?
Abstain. I wasn't here.
You're right, that's true.
I wouldn't either, but that doesn't mean you can't. Exactly.
And I think if he abstains, then.
No. Gretchen just cleared it
Okay,
up for him.
okay,
Correct?
Okay, I still abstain.
okay. Mr. Talbot?
Yes.
Ms. Patterson?
Yes.
Ms.
Yes.
Davidson?
We'll bring him back next meeting. Okay.
Okay, so we'll move on to item number 5. This item was deferred by the PC at the request of the applicant on December 15th, 2022. Discussion and possible action to approve/deny a zoning change from R2 Rural Residential District to a Planned Unit Development PUD 2022-06. Eric, staff report?
Yes, this item was in front of the Planning Commission back during the summertime. At that particular time, he had requested a straight zoning. It was R1, which is acreage residential. At that particular time, through conversation at the meeting with the applicant and adjacent property owners, it was denied at that time, and so he's brought it back now as a PUD. He's gotten with the adjacent property owners. The concept is still the same. As you can see, it's 147 acres. He's going to have approximately 70 lots on that 147 acres. And so he's done a PUD this time to where the design that was kind of discussed at the previous meeting is pretty much the only thing that he can construct on the property. He's here if you have any questions. We don't have any protest. We haven't had anybody really call and ask any questions, but the applicant is here for questions.
Okay. People here, is there anyone here to talk in favor? Come on. If you could state your name and address, please.
Okay, Gary Ashley at 8475 Northwest 220th. When this came on the agenda previously, it was going for an R1, as y'all probably remember. And that was something that, as one of the owners, and I had talked to the neighbors, and we put the letter together and all that, and thought that would not work for what we wanted in our neighborhood. That's what we objected to. So I've worked with Citadel, has been real good about working with me, and we put together the CCRs for that neighborhood with the 70 lots. And now that they have the water situation under control, that they're going to be allowed, have the expense, but to put in meters to those 70 houses, the neighbors and I have no problem with that. So just wanted to make that. So they've been great to work with.
Any questions for Mr. Ashley? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Again, state your name and address, please.
Yes, Michael Shoemaker, 7800 West Hefner, Oklahoma City, 73172. Okay. Yeah, not a whole lot changed other than I would like to thank Gary and the surrounding neighbors and Dr. Perez. I also worked with him with regards to getting school support. I have an email to that effect. So thank you, Gary, for your hard work and working with me. Other than that, it's the layout and the lots are still 70 lots. It will be a PUD. I will be required to do exactly what's on that plan. These CCRs will be filed immediately after this meeting because Gary wants me to, and that's what I'm going to do. So.
Questions? Thank you.
I was just going to add, Mr. Shoemaker provided me the email from the school. If you would like to talk, or if you'd like to see that letter, just in support of the project.
I spoke with Dr. Perez myself and know that he's in favor of this, so I don't have an email, I just have a phone call.
Okay, is there anybody here to talk against this project? Hearing and seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve or deny item number 5.
Motion to approve.
I'll second.
Roll call.
Mr. DeFuria,
Aye.
Mr. Talbot,
Aye.
Ms. Patterson,
Aye.
Commissioner Davidson.
Aye.
Item is approved. Item number 6, discussion and possible action to approve/deny the general plot of Fortune Estates GP 2022-12. Staff report.
So item 6 and 7 are companion items. Item 6 is the general plat, item 7 is the final plat. Essentially what you have here is when we redid the regulations, we changed the lot split procedure. And so this is a simple lot split in the fact that they have 5 acres and now they're splitting it into essentially two acre parcels, a little bit greater. In the zoning regulation, we change it to where if you're creating a parcel that is less than 5 acres when you're doing the lot split, you have to go through the plating process. So that's why they're here today and going through this.
Any questions for Eric? Is there anyone here who'd like to talk in favor of this project? Your name and address, please.
Taylor Fortune, 10124 North Triple X Road. And I'm just splitting land with my parents to build a house right beside them. And so just doing the process.
Any questions? Thank you. Is there anybody here to talk against this? Hearing and seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve or deny item number 6.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Roll call.
Mr. DeFuria,
Aye.
Mr. Talbot,
Yes.
Ms. Patterson,
Yes.
Commissioner Davidson.
Yes.
Item number 7, discussion and possible action to approve/deny the final plot of Fortune Estates FP 2022-06. Anything to add, Eric?
No.
Any questions for Eric? Okay. Anybody here who would like to talk in favor of this?
Taylor Fortune, 10124 North Triple X Road.
Anything to add?
I don't think so.
Okay, thank you. Anybody here to talk against this project? Hearing and seeing none, I'll entertain a motion for item number 7.
Motion to approve.
I'll second.
Roll call, Eric.
Mr. DeFuria,
Aye.
Mr. Talbot,
Aye.
Ms. Patterson, Commissioner Davidson.
Yes.
Motion approved. Item number 8, discussion and possible action to approve/deny the zoning change from CG Commercial General District to R2 Residential District Z 2022-07. Staff report.
So this item, item 8, 9, and 10 are all companion items. And so what you see here, the property owner, Mr. Smith, who is here today, is kind of cleaning up some zoning. Essentially what he's wanting to do here, you'll see the area that is in red is an area that's currently zoned commercial. He's returning that area back to R2, and he's going to add that to the parcel to the south and east of the commercial property. If you go to the next slide real quick, I'll go one more. You can see here he owns all 3 of these lots. He's just adding that additional property to that lot. The other items are the plating component to this. So like I said, it's really just cleaning up the zoning so he can create the lots that he would like to create.
Any questions for Eric?
Eric, not being 100% familiar with the way things are done here, can you take items 8, 9, and 10 at once?
Typically in
way
the
we do with everything
past, they would take one at a time, but
Gretchen, any advisement on that?
No, that's fine.
And there's always a chance that somebody could be fine with the first request and have a problem with the way they're doing it with the plat as well. Any other questions for Eric? Hearing none, is there anybody here who would like to talk in favor of this project? If you state your name and address, please.
Brent Smith, 1531 North East 40th Street, Oakland Park, Florida. So I'm here representing the estate of my father, and this is my mother here. They've lived here about 20 years. This was Papa G's restaurant. And really, he had strokes during the COVID pandemic, and he passed away this summer. And we're just trying to clean this up so they can sell off the business piece there on the corner and keep the other as the residential.
Okay, well, hold on. Any questions? And our sympathies for your dad. Sorry. Anybody here to talk against this project? Hearing and seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve / deny item number 8.
Motion to approve.
Roll call?
Mr. DeFury,
Aye.
Mr. Talbot,
Yes.
Ms. Patterson, Commissioner Davidson.
Yes.
Motion approved. Item number 9, discussion and possible action to approve / deny the general plat of Deer Creek Day Ranch, GP 2022-11. Anything to add, Eric?
Nothing to add. Like I said, currently all the property essentially sits together. Right now, track 4 is separate from the other 2 tracks to the north of it. But like I said, they're wanting to split it into 3 tracks.
Any questions for Eric? Hearing none, is there anybody here who would like to talk in favor of this project? If you have nothing to add, that's fine. Hearing and seeing none, is there anybody here to talk against this project? Hearing and seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve item number 9, or approve / deny item number 9.
Motion to approve.
Roll call?
Mr. DeFury,
Aye.
Mr. Talbot,
Yes.
Ms. Patterson, Commissioner Davidson.
Yes.
Motion approved. Item number 10, discussion and possible action to approve / deny the final plat of Deer Creek Day Ranch FP 2022-05. Anything to add, Eric?
No, sir.
Any questions for Eric? Anybody here who'd like to talk in favor of the project? Hearing and seeing none, is anybody here to talk against the project? Hearing and seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve / deny item number 10.
Motion to approve.
Roll call, Eric?
Mr. DeFury,
Aye.
Mr. Talbot,
Yes.
Ms. Patterson, Commissioner Davidson.
Yes.
Item 10 is approved. Item number 11, discussion and possible action to approve / deny a zoning change from R2 Rural Residential District to C1 Commercial Limited District Z 2022-08. Eric, staff report?
Yes, so this particular piece of property is on Portland, and it's north of 220th on the east side. You may be familiar with this property. There's a lot of floodplain as you go back to the east of Portland there. This particular spot sits up on the high ground, which, like I said, it's approximately 8.6 acres. They are rezoning to CL. That gives them the ability to place a restaurant there on the property. I don't know much. I can provide you, they have a concept of what they're wanting to do in regards to the location of the restaurant, location of the parking at this time, if you'd like to look at that as well. But the intent, like I said, is to have a restaurant at the particular piece of property.
Questions for Eric? Would anybody like to see
This, I was just gonna say, this map is just kind of a bigger overview of the area there. As you can see, as you go back to the east, a lot of that's in the floodplain. You can also see kind of just some of the similar zoning there in the area is the intent of this map.
Gretchen, you have a concern? We'll strike that from the record. Any other questions for Eric? Is there anybody here who would like to talk in favor of this project? If you could state your name and address, please.
Good afternoon, Mark Zitzow with Johnson and Associates. Address is 1 East Sheridan Avenue. I think Eric gave a pretty well detailed explanation of what we're attempting to do here. Our client's seeking to build a restaurant. They're still working out the concept. We'll be back with a special use permit in the future before you when we have more detailed floor plans and elevations of what we plan to do. The attempt here is to do something that's more of a destination style restaurant. So if you think something like Pops out near Arcadia, that's the goal here. And we think along Portland Avenue. And on this particular tract is an appropriate location. It's a beautiful piece of property if you've had a chance to go out there, nestled up against that floodway and the trees that are out there. We plan to preserve all of those. And so there's no one really around us that would potentially be impacted from this. So we would ask for your recommendation of approval today. But I'd be happy to answer any questions that you might have.
My only question I have is on the entrance. Okay, this is obviously coming off a major roadway. Are we going to need a turn lane or something to be installed, Stacy? Or
I'll take that question. We, the county, can't do that. That's ODOT's facility.
okay,
So they'll have to get a permit from ODOT as far as the driveway, where they'll allow the driveway to have access. If they put any signs up on the property, they'll have to get a permit for those signs from them and us. So we're limited on what we can require on Portland itself.
okay. So, I'm sorry, Eric, now that you brought that up, so if we approve this and ODOT denies it, then what happens?
Well, then essentially the property will sit there. It'll be rezoned
Right.
because you approved it, but the property itself would sit there. I don't know why ODOT would deny them access, but property would just sit there vacant.
And if I may, we'll meet all of the state requirements and all the ODOT requirements. Based on the research we have to this point on the property, there were no established limits of no access along Portland. So we're not expecting an issue on the driveway, but we'll absolutely work with ODOT and make sure it meets all the requirements.
Any other questions? Thank you. Is there anyone here who would like to talk against this project? Hearing and seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve or deny item number 11.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Roll call.
Mr. Fury,
Aye.
Mr. Talbot,
Yes.
Ms. Patterson, Commissioner Davidson.
Yes.
Item 11 approved. Item number 12, discussion and possible action to approve/deny a zoning change from R2 rural residential to rural residential district to a planned unit development PUD 2022-07. Staff report?
Yes, so what you have here, as you can see on the particular map, we're on MacArthur, about a half a mile south of Northwest 178th on the west side of the road. The house that's highlighted in red is the property that we're discussing in this instance in regards to the PUD. Hopefully, I hope you had an opportunity to read through the PUD to kind of give you an idea of what the actual activity is. Have you had an opportunity to do that?
I have.
Okay.
Everybody else?
And the applicant's here to speak on it, but essentially, from my understanding, just a kind of discussion with Mr. Myers, it's they're going to use the existing house. People are going to come to the property by appointment only. Essentially the basis of the business is to help people with self-healing processes. They have various things that they are offering there as far as weight loss, certain processes they have to help people with self-healing. And so that's why I was hoping you had an opportunity to read the PUD. I think the statement that they provide is probably the best explanation of what's going on. And essentially what that comes down to is they're trying to facilitate self-healing strategies through proper eating practices, exercise, vitamins, herbs, and energy enhancement systems technology for the public by appointment only. So that's what they want to do there on the property. Here within the last day or so, I haven't had an opportunity to get, we've got some protest letters. I have not had the opportunity to get those to you. And I know the applicant wasn't aware of them either, just because we just received them yesterday in the afternoon. So I'd like to give you an opportunity to review those. And then once you're done, give the applicant these letters as well.
And Gretchen, do we need to take a motion to receive those? Yep. So I'll entertain a motion to receive the protest letters.
So moved.
Roll call.
Mr. DeFuria,
Aye.
Mr. Talbot,
Yes.
Ms. Patterson, Commissioner Davidson.
Yes.
We've just provided a map here. This is the location of where those letters come from in relation to the property itself.
And Eric, correct me, I don't remember, are they actually going to be selling products on there, or this is purely a service?
I'll have him answer that question.
Before you take off, Eric, being the newbie here, can you operate a business out of your house that has individuals coming to it to receive services? Is that in our zone? Do we allow that?
You can do a home-based business, I think is kind of what you're getting at.
Right.
So there is a
But can I
provision
have customers coming in and out of my home?
on the home-based business. That's the difference. You can't have customers coming in and out of the restaurant. So that's what divides a home-based business to where you have to rezone the property. You can't have signage. Essentially, you can't have anything to identify the residents as a business. So typically the things that we've come across in the past is someone, let's say, who is selling items on eBay, as an example. You would never know that they were there, is essentially what the zoning regulation is trying to accomplish with home-based business.
Okay. And then, that's interesting. So with that, are you allowed to have employees on site? How does that work?
Right, there's no employees are allowed unless they're related to the family. So it's essentially people that live within that structure where you're conducting the activity.
Okay. And then the requirement for home-based, and I think I know this one, but remind me if I'm wrong. You do have to be living in the structure, facility, whatever.
Right, that's correct. Now, I will say in Mr. Meyer's case, from my understanding, he owns this property, but he owns the property to the south and the property to the south of it. So from my understanding, the home is vacant. He doesn't actually live there, but he's adjacent to that property. Just for your information.
Okay. What constitutes significant protest?
They have to be adjacent to the property itself, and they have to make up more than 20% of the frontage that is adjacent to that piece of property. So in this instance, this is not significant.
Okay. Thanks for bearing with me, new guy.
Any other questions for Eric? Okay, is there someone here who would like to talk in favor of this project? State your name and address, please.
It's Rick Myers. I live at 16999 North MacArthur Boulevard, right next door to this property, and Edmond, Oklahoma, 73012.
Could you give us a description of what's going to happen here if this was approved?
Well, this is a house that my son lived in for a number of years, and he passed away 2 years ago, so the house has been sitting empty. Now, we've gone in and fixed it up and made it a really nice place to live in, but nobody in my family is going to live in it. My daughter lives behind me, and she is very interested in the self-healing idea, and we decided to try to use the house if we could because we have it. We plan not to put signs out. It's appointment only. Limited amount of people in and out of there in the course of a day. It would operate 7 days a week, just because of the nature of the business. Mainly family works in there. My granddaughters and my daughter will run it. So it is, for all practical purposes, a home-based type business, but we just own the house, so we wanted to use it if we could. And that's the purpose of my application today, would be to see if we could use it. And it was within the scope of something that would be allowable. And so I did send a letter out to all the neighbors, giving them an overview of what I put in this document here that you have. And I did talk with one. One of them called me, actually did call me. And so we visited, and that was it. I didn't hear from anyone else. And I did provide them with my phone contact. I tried to call them. I couldn't get all their phone numbers. So the only phone number that I did have was a guy who works for the county here, Keith. And he has 80 acres, which are on down the road from us, but I think it's within the 1,000-foot scope. So he didn't give me any idea one way or the other. I kind of thought he might be here today, but don't see him here. So that's really all I can tell you about it. It is a business that's designed to help people to heal themselves, and so it's not a high-profile thing by any means. It's quite very low profile, but I didn't want to put something in there without, making sure we're legal. So that's the purpose of this more than anything, just to make sure that we are legal and we can present it in a legal way. And if it works, okay. If not, we'll be looking for a place to rent within a mile or two of our location now, which we have found one. So I haven't just been sitting out because I was kind of, I know how these things go sometimes, and I don't know who else is going to complain or put up a obligation to it. So I've gone ahead and at least put some feelers out. So that's kind of where we are with it right now. I'm waiting on this to before I move forward with that, though.
So I don't actually, and unless I'm missing something, I don't see a list of services in here or a list of things, because what I'm seeing under item, basically section 6.1, development and subdivisions, and then the last thing in there says retail and services, local retail. Because and correct me if I'm wrong, Eric, but if we approve local retail, then anybody can go in and do anything to it later.
So these are the services he's providing.
Mhm. Not from,
Their staff report, I have
Mhm. Sure.
So what he had there in his, as far as the PUD, he had retail listed there. And so one of the things I added to the staff report was, to me, this is kind of similar to a doctor's office. So we can narrow that down to one of those uses. Typically with retail uses, there's items there that he's selling to the public. Now, I know he's providing services, but retail, particular items that people go in and buy and leave. So he may want to just kind of clear that up. So I think really the item or the selection that he made as far as the category that he's doing there may not be the most appropriate one. So in the staff report, I kind of added a second one as far as like a doctor's office, if you will, to me, that this is kind of similar to that, to where people set up appointments, they come in, they get whatever service and they leave. So I added that to the staff report, and that's something that we can modify if that so this is what the planning commission so desires.
Maybe I could clear up a little bit about anything that would be retailed, because we will be offering herbs and vitamins and different supplements like that along that level. There will be things that will be sold to the public on that basis. We would definitely have to have a retail sales permit for that, which we would apply for and get if we get this location. If not, we'll apply for it at another location. But yeah, we will have certain things that are in the self-healing world that will be sold to the public. But it's not like people are going to be driving in there to get them. These people come by appointment only, predominantly for the enhanced energy system that's in there. But there are related items to that we would retail to the public that have been sold for the last 40 some odd years. So they're not new on the market by any means, but they would be available to people that were interested in this type of a self-healing opportunity. So, but there would, to answer your question clearly, yes, there will be some retail sales inside there, and we will have to file taxes and sales taxes and do everything that's required of us for that. So,
Any other questions? Thank you, sir.
we will.
Is there anybody here to talk against this project? One last question, and again, excuse my ignorance on this, but when we're talking vitamins and herbs, that would not include medical marijuana. No, I want to hear that from Eric because,
Well, no, that's correct. That's something that's separate in our regulation, so he would have to specify that.
okay. Well, hearing and seeing no one against, I'll entertain a motion to approve/deny item number 12.
I'll make a motion to deny. Unfortunately, I just don't believe that time, manner, place, a business next to residential, and then I don't think that our codes even fit this from the questions I asked and the way I understand it.
Right, there was some concern, there were some phone calls, concern with traffic along MacArthur, how people would get ingress and egress out easily. If this was approved and it moved forward in regards to the building code that we go by, there probably have to be some modifications to the structure possibly to meet that code. It really depends on the use that's classified by the applicant at that point in time.
Yeah. Which would open it up to all sorts of other, what we'll say, home-based business. I mean, it wouldn't keep, say, Denise Patterson from storing all of her construction equipment and everything behind her house at that point, right?
No, it's definitely separate.
Yeah.
I mean, just because it's a PUD, he's very limited on what he can do. So it is different in that regard.
But once we go down that path of allowing stuff like that's what I'm saying.
Oh,
is
okay.
We're going to start.
Right. I see what you're saying.
It's nothing against this business or anything of the sort. And I applaud you for being a small business. I am more worried about setting a precedent of future.
Right. I see what you're saying. Yes. I will say this is a little bit unique in that regard. The only thing that I can think of that's similar to this was applied for some years ago, and it wasn't approved at that time. It was a different location. It wasn't this part of the county, but it was a similar concept, and it was kind of like a doctor's office. People would come in. I think it was more for physical therapy type of activity.
And they were going to sell supplements and things too in there, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I think they were trying to sell some stuff related to the physical therapy business, yes.
So we have a motion to deny item number 12. Do we have a second? Roll call, Eric?
Mr. DeFury,
Aye.
Mr. Talbot,
Yes.
Ms. Patterson, Mr. Davidson.
Yes.
So item number 12 is denied. Sir, just so you understand that this item will be on the Board of County Commissioners in 3 weeks, 2 weeks,
2 or 3 weeks.
2 to
yes.
3 weeks, and that's when the final decision will be made.
I'll contact you.
Sir, I look forward to you building or doing this business just a little further down the road at the location you were talking about though. So, and anything I can do to help you in that, I'd be willing to do.
Item number 13, discussion and possible action to receive the December 2022 fee fund expense report. Eric, how much money we make?
Some, not much. It's definitely down from what it was the previous months, but that's kind of the typical thing in the wintertime.
everybody's had a chance to look at that, I'll entertain a motion to receive the report.
Second.
Roll call?
Mr. DeFury,
Aye.
Mr. Talbot,
Yes.
Ms. Patterson, Commissioner Davidson.
Yes.
Okay, item number 14, new business. In accordance to the Open Meetings Act, Section 311.9, new business is defined as any matter not known about or which could not have been reasonably foreseen prior to the time of the posting of this agenda. Any new business, Eric?
No, sir.
With that said, item number 15, I'll entertain a motion for adjournment.
I'll second.
Roll call?
Mr. DeFury,
Aye.
Mr. Talbot,
Yes.
Ms. Patterson, Commissioner Davidson.
Yes.
We're adjourned.
Yes, sir. Do I have any pull with the county commissioner? I can meet him in the elevator if you like. Well, I would like to meet with the elevator too. So I'm 74 over the Shed Road. That is the road. It's not the tax address. It's all gone. There you go. I wasn't joking about the elevator.
He's the new guy. We got minutes in my life.
All the fun stuff. Oh, well, I am so. Right. Did you just talk about the power? So the DA